too.
The smell of coffee is in the air. It must be time for another episode of The Art of Struggle. Welcome to another episode of my podcast called The Art of Struggle. You can hear me rant about art, video games, movies, pop culture, CGI, the industry, and much, much more. My name is Fatai, and I'll be your guide as we explore the world of CG, pop culture, and the people who make it all possible. Today we are going to talk about Kanye's trip to the White House. Over the weekend, Kanye West made a visit to the White House. And in a very bizarre and rambling rant, he jumped from topics ranging from, and I kid you not, prison reform, time travel, dimensional shifts, the 13th Amendment, and that's just to name a few of the topics that Kanye West talked about. And I think the biggest thing for me was, before I get into just making fun of Kanye for going to the White House and making a complete fool out of himself. Before I even go into that, I think it's important to ask ourselves a few questions. And the questions is, why was Kanye in the White House to begin with? What brought Kanye there? All right. 2, should we care that Kanye West is in the White House? 3, does Kanye West speak for all black people? I'm going to answer that one right now. No, he does not. And the last question is, how deep is the sunken place? Because man, this interview was bananas. Throughout it, I was confused. Not as confused as Donald Trump, but I was confused. And the thing is, let's start with the first question is, why was Kanye West there? So I'm going to try to break down a timeline of the events of what was going on from my understanding of it. All right. So Kanye West, so apparently I think there's an event going on at the White House right now. So there's don't quote me, but there's a music award that I think Kid Rock and a few other musicians were attending at the White House. And Kanye decided, he was going to go up there and, I think he was going to be part of they were honoring a bunch of guys. So he was just going to go up there or something like that. But along the lines of that, he was he's going to go and talk, and he's going to go talk to Donald Trump. The funny thing is, I think Donald Trump was under the impression that they were just having lunch and they weren't going to have a press conference together, which I still can't believe that happened. I'm still under the impression that, because Kanye said he left the sunken place already. So, we've been giving Kanye the benefit of the doubt. And I think we've given him a little too much this time. We've given him just a little bit too much leeway this time, because this was a very interesting situation. He goes in there and it was like watching the Titanic sink in slow motion. It was just like a car wreck that you see, like you're watching it, but you can't look away. You cannot look away. You're just like, what is he talking about? At one point, he's like, I love Trump, and he goes, it's just a bizarre situation. So yeah, let me get back to the timeline before I get off track right quick. So the timeline is, he's, going for this music award thing, and Kanye says he's got an agenda. His agenda is he's going to talk about things like prison reform, all right? Which he wants to free Larry Hoover, which is he went down for murder and I think creating like a super gang, which is like 1,000 or more people in your gang, and he was still running the gang from prison, but I don't know. It's one of those, like, he's like a hood figure, he's like Big Meech. Rick Ross has a song where he goes like, I'm talking Big Meech, Larry Hoover, he's a big name in that industry. And there is a debate to where, is he more deserving than, there's some people who have like drug offenses for like the first time and they weren't freed, for like their first drug offense, they get like a life sentence, or a guy who like smoked marijuana. It was just a lot of situations that I feel like they would be more deserving of that, but I'm not in the criminal justice system. I'm not here to judge anybody, so that's neither here nor there. But he's going to be talking about prison reform. That's one of the things that he's going to talk about. And we're going to talk about whether he achieves any of these things that he goes to do. He goes there also to talk about abolishing the 13th Amendment. Okay, that's another thing. And then he talks about stop and frisk in Chicago. He wants to talk about how it's unfair to the people, and the citizens feel like it doesn't build trust, which, I mean, real talk, that probably doesn't build trust when you're stopping and frisking everybody every 10 seconds and every black person. Yeah, that's okay. Noble. He also wants to talk about a new iPlane, or a new Apple-made plane for Donald Trump, and Kanye West brought a GIF to the White House to show the president and the press about what it was a very interesting situation. So yeah. And by the way, why is Kanye West's password 00000? Somebody needs to get this lazy man a better password than that, because that was too easy. So yeah. On that note, there were some things that I noticed about Kanye in the interview that I think I hadn't noticed before. Kanye has a lot of daddy issues. He has a few daddy issues. And he feels like he's a free thinker because he's always like against everything. But like, I feel like he just is against everything to be against everything, which is like totally different and opposite from being a free thinker. Just because you want to be like contrarian to everything doesn't make you a free thinker. It just makes you like an asshole half the time, just makes you an asshole. So yeah, that's another thing. That's another subject for another day. But yeah, and I think he just muddled his own message. Like, if he had gone in, and I feel like somebody needed to like sit down with Kanye like the day before and be like, all right, bro, this is what we're going to go talk about. We're going to address these 4 topics, and your ass is not going to bounce around. You're not going to, because he was just all over the place. He's just like, and Trump looked just like genuinely confused. He looked like, yo, is this Ben Carson? Or like, when did Ben Carson get so hyper? Like, what is going on? It's ridiculous that he confused the most confusing human being on the planet. Donald Trump, who made his money, like, bullshitting his way through life, met with a living, active bullshitter, and he did not know how. He was like, man, this is some skill right here, because I have no idea what the hell you are talking about. But man, good job, Kanye. You managed to suck the air out of the room. Like, it was just like, he was talking about how he didn't relate with Hillary's campaign because of just how she, her slogan didn't resonate with him, and putting on the MAGA hat made him feel like he had a dad, which harbors back to, like, I think he still has a little bit of daddy issues that he needs to solve. And like, there's just a lot of things that I feel like if he had come from like a place of like, all right, we have these demands, or not even demands, but like, yo, these are the actionable items that we want you to do right now, instead of like, you're the best president in the world, oh my goodness, what? Like, no, who thinks, like, it was just weird in that sense. So that's neither here nor there. But yeah, when it comes to like this prison reform argument, I don't think he makes a very good point. You know, I feel like if he had suggested somebody else, maybe, but I don't think Donald Trump's letting Larry Hoover out of jail, bro. Like, that's not. It'd be like letting, like, you know, Big Meech or El Chapo out of jail. You know, like, why would I do that? Like, I'm not doing that, bro. Like, Larry Hoover was probably still running his business from jail. Like, for real. Like, yo, if we're being 1,000, like, yo, I mean, but yeah, man, it's just crazy. And it's just interesting. But there are other people in the prison system that I feel like they would be a lot more deserving, and their cases should be definitely looked at, because that is something that, you know, should be addressed and should be looked at. So yeah, I mean, Kanye just came through from left field with this one. There's some, you know, it's like some of the stuff he was talking about, like he was talking about how you should make school more interesting, which at first the analogies he gave sounded kind of dumb, but like in the proper setting, it makes sense. You know, it's like, okay, school's boring. That's why there's some kids who don't feel like it's for them. And if, you know, you made it a little more interesting, you could stay. But then he like sideways into something about the universe being, and it's just like, God damn it, Kanye, get on a point, or stay on a point, or just don't say it at all. And that was, I think, my biggest takeaway from the entire situation, was that he tried to make too many points in too short of a time. And that is what made him seem like he was just losing it. And then he was just like almost like groveling to like Donald Trump. They were like best buds. Like, and it was just like, it's interesting because like on the backdrop of that, Kanye's the guy who's like, George Bush doesn't like black people. You know, it's like, whoa, that's, you know, all right. And I think that's the thing. It's like people have given him leeway off of that one statement for so long, because they're like, he's going to come back to that statement. He's going to come back to that person who was, but like, he's moved on. He's like, that's not who he is anymore. He's, you know, he's watched some Candace Owens videos, and like, he's on the other side now. All right, let him go. You know, even Anakin went to the other side. It's, you know, like, yo, it's okay. He doesn't speak for all black people. And yes, it has to hurt to lose like a prominent actor to, you know, just whatever he's going through. But if he got some help, or like somebody to like sit him down and like get what because I think he means well. That's the thing about Kanye. I don't think he's like a sociopath. I think he's more like a narcissist, in the sense like he doesn't know that he's being like a jackass. He's just like being Kanye, and he thinks like, yo, I can be super positive and I can make it through it, and that's how it's gonna work out because I'm Kanye West, and you know, like, and that's like his mentality. And it's like, yo, like there's reality as well, and you know, yeah. And, you know, the reporters even try to, like, ask him questions like, yo, you said George Bush was, like, you know, didn't like black people. What makes you change your mind now? And he's just like, goes on this like right field answer. And then the reporter's like, so are you going to answer my question, Kanye? And Kanye's just like, yo, no, like, that's how I answer questions. I don't answer questions in sound bites, bro. Like, it's like playing 4D chess. And I'm like, dude, yeah, it is like playing 4D chess with a fucking monkey. God damn it, Kanye. What are you doing? What are you doing? But yeah, it's just sad. So yeah, let's just check out some of this footage, man, of Kanye prostrating himself before Donald Trump. Like, the thing is, like, if he came from like, yo, this is what we trying to do, Donald Trump, like, I think black people would respect him a little. They'd be like, yo, you went in there, you try to say your piece, but he's just like, we should love this man. Like, look at all the things he's done for us. What he's done for us? Like, yo, it's just cray. So yeah, Kanye West Trump didn't know what to say. Like, that was my biggest thing from the whole thing. Trump looked genuinely confused. Look at his face. He's just like, yo, we were supposed to have lunch, fam. Like, what are you doing in my office still?
Infinite amounts of universe in this alternate universe. So it's very important for me to get Hoover out, because in an alternate universe, I am him. And I have to go and get him free, because he was doing positive inside of Chicago, just like how I'm moving back to Chicago. And it's not just about, getting on stage and being an entertainer and having a monolithic voice that's first.
Yo, Kanye keeps banging on Donald Trump's desk, and I feel like Donald Trump's never had anybody be like, because I feel like Kanye is like 2 seconds away from standing on the table and making a speech every 5 seconds. I feel like that. Kanye is 2 seconds away from making a speech and standing on the table every 5 seconds, because that's what he's used to. But he can't do it here because he's in the White House. I feel like that's what he's trying to do.
Welfare is the reason why a lot of black people end up being Democrat. They say, first of all, it's a limit to amount of jobs. So the fathers lose the jobs, and they say, we'll give you more money for having more kids.
Trump's just nodding along like, yeah.
We got rid of the mental health.
Don't know who you are, black man, but yes, thank you.
Just shot up, and now you have Chirac, what people call Chirac, which is actually our murder rate is going down by 20% every year. I just talked to the superintendent, met with Michael Sachs, that's Ron's right-hand man. So I think it's the bravery that helps you beat this game called life. They tried to scare me to not wear this hat, my own friends, but this hat, it gives me power in a way. My dad and my mom separated, so I didn't have a lot of male energy in my home. And also, I'm married to a family that, not a lot of male energy going on. It's beautiful, though.
Donald Trump understood that one. He understood that one.
I love Hillary. I love everyone, right? But the campaign, I'm with her, just didn't make me feel as a guy that didn't get to see my dad all the time, like a guy that could play catch with his son.
This is the daddy issue stuff that I'm talking about. It just sounds like Kanye has daddy issues.
That's my favorite superhero. And you make a Superman cape. For me, also as a guy that looks up to you, looks up to Ralph Lauren, looks up to American industry guys. Non-political, no bullshit, put the beep on it, however you want to do it, 5 seconds delay.
I don't think Kanye knows how that works, but yeah. Yeah, it's just it's a bizarre, if you haven't seen this entire thing, it's very interesting. You should definitely check it out.
Police officers, and that's not saying that the police officer is not an issue, because they are in a position of power.
Yo, Donald Trump just looks so confused. He's like, and I feel like whoever set up the meeting he keeps looking over to the side, and I feel like he's looking over at whoever it is that set this meeting up with Kanye West, and he's like, yo, you brought this motherfucker into my office to act like this in front of all these cameras.
When you shouldn't have to force people to do that. So a lot of times a police officer is sitting.
Yo, Trump looks so hungry right now. He's like, yo, I need a KFC bucket ASAP. Like, he needs that, like...
They're being forced to do this and forced to do that block, and then they force somebody into something and force something. We have to release the love throughout the entire country and give opportunities. A lot of times, it's just the open.
Okay, yeah. Just go watch it if you have enough patience to try to make it through, but like it's incoherent. It didn't make any sense, and that's the problem with guys like Kanye and Donald Trump. They're the same person. They are the same person. They speak in that hyperbolic tones. They exaggerate. Everything is love and peace, and everything is going to be big league, and it's going to be, that's how we're going to do it. But in reality, like, you press them a little bit, but they can't give you any details as to when it's going to really happen, how it's going to happen. They don't know any of that, but it's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be big league, and and that's the problem. That's why this guy's got like 6 bankruptcies, and nobody wants to work with Kanye West because, like, yo, you say you're like this brand guru, but like every time you get on a brand and somebody doesn't give you what you think you deserve, you throw a tantrum, and that's extremely like negative to work with. Somebody who feels like they deserve it, that's entitled to everything. Like, you're not entitled just because you know somebody. Like, that doesn't make you entitled to anything you think you have. So yeah, you gotta, I don't know, Kanye, there was a lot of people who had a lot of hope for Kanye, but he was trying to even get Kaepernick to go up there, and Kaepernick's like, no, we're not going up there with you to parade for, that's not what we're gonna do. So this is interesting. Yeah, check it out. I want to thank you for watching another episode of my podcast called The Art of Struggle. My name is Ty, and I am signing out.